Could you imagine packing up your entire life into a mere couple of totes and hitting the reset button in a totally new country? Well, that's exactly what we did. After a long day of travel, estamos en Panama. In this episode, we're thrilled to introduce to you our new sailboat.
Upgraded.
He's joking.
It's a brand new chapter. Welcome aboard.
Hey guys!
Hey guys.
Today we are going to be showing you exactly what our new boat is.
Let's get going.
As you can see here, we're sitting off the back of the boat here. So it is an aft cockpit sailboat. And these are what we call our princess seats because they are super comfortable.
Hey, you kind of higher up than everybody else in the cockpit. Can't wait to get out and sail and sit here. This is going to be such a fun seat.
We're going to show you the outside first. This boat is a tank, a beast of a vessel. This is our new boat. This is our custom 45-foot sailboat, monohull. We haven't left Team Monohull yet, but this is her. And as you can see, it is totally different. The main factor being that it is an aluminum sailboat. The cutter, which is what we made Jibsea, but we actually never really had the opportunity to use our inner staysail on Jibsea. It was a hank-on, and we just, I don't know, it just seemed kind of cumbersome, so we never really did it. This one's on a furling unit, so we have just so much more options when it comes to sails and how we want to set that up when we're actually sailing.
Personally, I'm super excited to have just more sail plan, like readily available. So we can furl in the head sail, roll out the staysail, and just have that adjustability. The boat also has a code 0. It's just really old, so we'll see if we like using that or not. I'm sure we will, and it's on a continuous furler, which is super awesome. Double spreader rig.
There's a lot of tarps on it right now just to protect from the sun since we're at the marina, but we're gonna show you top deck here. Hopefully you get a good idea of what she looks like. We've got 2 anchors sitting on the bow, which are the exact same anchors that Jibsea had, which is a 25 kg Rockna, and then a Bruce anchor as a secondary. We've got some birds that have made a little home. Oh, there's Mama.
Oh, she'll dive bomb us too.
So we've got, ow!
And we feel bad, like.
That's something we'll get used to because now the windlass is not inside.
It's a vertical LaFrance capstan windlass, so it's above deck.
Yeah, we used to have it in the anchor locker, so that's an adjustment and some, you know, bruises.
Yeah, we haven't really ran around up foredeck yet. Well, I have been, she hasn't, so she's got to learn where the pieces are. So you go through the stubbing your toes. Yeah, we can't remove the bird's nest because there's eggs in it, or there's now hatchlings, so we're like, okay. Hopefully they'll leave by the time we gotta go.
And then here we've got a huge storage locker up at the front.
I'm really excited to have this storage locker up on the bow. I can go into it and it's 5 feet, but it also acts as an entire crash bulkhead. Massive. Look at that space. And right now there's 300 feet of chain and there's probably 300+ feet of road sitting in there, and it's still lots of space. Like the chain barely reached the top, so that's good for when you're bringing in the chain. It won't pile up on itself too high and then stack up in a big pile. It's just nice to have a big sail locker, wet locker, fenders, mooring lines, just like in here and out of the way, and not taking up a lot of space elsewhere. From right here, right to the end of the locker, it's a solid compartment. Forward is one whole crash head compartment.
And these shiny fellas are air vents. We've got one on the port side and the starboard side. And then I guess these are called cowls. What's nice about these is that even if it's raining, we'll still get some airflow when all the hatches and port lights are closed up.
Yeah, or if we're in heavy sea state and we can't have any hatches open, we can still allow air to flow through the boat, which is huge.
Between the air vents, we've actually got these chocks here. You can kind of see half of it. This is for the giant dinghy that this boat comes with. So the dinghy actually just sits upright right on the foredeck here. We don't have the dinghy with us right now. It's put away, and you'll see why when we show you what it looks like, because it is just a beast of a dinghy.
Yeah, it's an absolute beast.
Yeah, but that's what those are for.
So as you can see here, we now have winches on the mast. Pretty cool. This is how you hoist all the halyards. So our jib halyard interstate halyard, as well as we have spare halyards. On this side are spinnaker halyard or code 0 halyard. Really excited about that. Working forward, I have working winches right here. That allows me not to go backwards into the cockpit all the time. I can stay up front here and do what I need to. The other thing I really love is the deck space is monstrous up front here.
For it only being 3 feet bigger.
Yeah, it seems like it's got 5 feet bigger up front here for how much space. You can't see it right here, but
yeah, imagine what it is when there's no canvas on it. It'll just open it up way more. But even just walking on it, navigating around, you feel that there's so much more real estate.
And here's the safety lines, like very high. We were down there last time. This feels just so much safer.
And then we've got the hard rails here, which is nice for being an aft cockpit now. So on Jibsea, our boom was actually above us, outside of the enclosed cockpit. So we never really saw it when we were sailing. But here, we're able to see everything from the helm station.
Not only that, I can reach the boom now. I have to climb a bunch of things, so that's cool.
But we're gonna have to worry about it hitting our head, potentially, like an accidental, you know? It could swing over and hit us now, whereas before it couldn't. So well, I don't know.
Step down. No. You don't have to worry about it.
No, yeah. But if I was like standing here or on the deck, it could swing over and hit. So we might chop this down, right? You're saying?
Ideally, I want to shorten the boom. Right now, I can shorten it 4 inches without having to change anything with the sail, because I would like to put a curtain from the Dodger to the Bimini, and as it stands right now, it's just, you won't be able to do it. So that's why we want to shorten the boom one, and if we ever get a new mainsail, I'm going to shorten it again, so then it just sits on the inside of the Dodger, and then we'll have full coverage and won't have to worry about bumping our heads, which I don't think we really have to worry about anyways.
The boat came with the hydro vane as well, so that's something new that we're going to have to learn to use. And then stepping in, what my first reaction was is that it actually still feels kind of cozy, if that makes sense, stepping into an aluminum boat. I personally haven't been on very many aluminum boats, only one other one, and I could tell that immediately once I stepped in, it felt kind of more industrial, I guess, because it's not like, you know, smooth, soft-ish fiberglass. I don't really know how to explain it, but it just felt more industrial on the feet. And it was painted. I mean, the decks are painted, of course, here, because otherwise it would get way too hot being aluminum, but it doesn't have that industrial feel. Like, it almost kind of feels fiberglassy to me. It's just very smooth, and it still has that homey-ish feel. So it's nice.
Yeah, this, as it being a aft cockpit, you would think it'd feel more exposed, but these cockpit coamings are extremely deep. We have hard safety rails that are quite high. So like you actually feel pretty enclosed in here, and I like that. I could fully have a ton of space to lie down.
A day bed here.
Yeah, like this is a proper bed that we could fully lie down on and be comfortable at passage. And just having like a really nice high cockpit coaming, I think I'll quite enjoy.
Hard Dodger, which is what we were really excited to get as well.
It has a hard Dodger, and something you really don't see too often is a hard Bimini. We also have a lot of cockpit storage. So that's a total new thing for us. Never had that. Got there, got into this seat, goes way down.
We actually have lazarettes. We never had lazarettes.
Never had lazarettes. So that goes all the way to the floor. This side's kind of occupied with our heating and AC unit.
AC, guys, we've got AC and heat.
Yeah, which I haven't figured out the heat yet. It took me 2 days to figure out the air conditioning unit because it was missing a part. And anyways, got it working. Really nice big steering wheel. This is a single throttle control, so this is going to take a bit of adjustment to get used to versus our other ones where it was like, yeah. Visual for me is really nice. I can see straight over the Dodger. So,
I can't, I'm too short. But there is a little step that was on the bow. Actually, we put it on the bow for now, but there's a little step that raises about, what, a foot?
Yeah, it puts it to about here. I'm just unsure if we want to use it all the time because I do like this position instead of being like, because I can just stand up here if I really had to.
Oh yeah, just like that.
I don't know where my feet is, or my feet are, but yeah, I can just stand here if I really needed to get up more. because it opens it up a little bit. But anyways, let's take you inside now.
There's air conditioning in here. This is where you want to be. It's comfortable. One of the first things you notice when you come down below is this massive table that we have right in the salon. And what's really cool about it is that this table had to be constructed inside, because if you saw the size of the companionway, this thing, it wouldn't have fit. So they had to make it, well, in the boat, but unfortunately we are going to be cutting it down a little bit smaller. You guys know that we lived forever without a table at all. And it is really nice to have a large table because we can spread our stuff out on it and have space for games and all the things. But it's not practical right now, at least we don't think it is, because it actually needs to be lifted up for you to access our freezer, which is the base of it. So that's our freezer right here.
And we have a green screen.
Oh yeah, we have a green screen. But yeah, this goes all the way up and then it actually hooks up onto that little hook in the ceiling. But the other issue was with how far out it comes out, there's no engine access without lifting the table up. So in an emergency situation, we wouldn't be able to just run down and get into the engine area. As a temporary fix, Travis has just shifted this table back slightly so that it is possible, but it narrows this space a little bit, which I don't love, but that's just a temporary fix. But you can show the access to the engine.
So this is where we needed it to be. We needed it to be able to do that, and as you can see,
it didn't clear it before.
Just squeezes by, and it would hit like here, and that's like, flip that, get this, do that, and it's like
too much.
Too much.
Especially underway.
Yeah, and if you really need to jump in here and do something right away.
And this engine is the same engine that we had on Jibsea, almost. It's a 4J H2E. There's no turbo though. We had a 4J HTE.
Yeah, so I really love that I know this engine already. I'm really happy about that. Like looking at it, everything is the exact same, just no turbo. So pretty sweet.
And then you have access from that cabin as well.
Yeah, port and starboard side. We have full-on access to get into this side, to get to the battery bank or the electronics, or on the starboard side, vice versa, as well as two little doors here to get to like the starter, the alternator, and stuff like that.
Speaking of batteries, the batteries, when we came here the first time, we learned that they were pretty much shot. Like they were just plugged in, but as soon as you unplug from the dock, it wouldn't hold a charge. So we knew that we had to get batteries as well set up if we wanted to, move this thing. That was another challenge because we were like, well, are we going to ship them? Are we going to buy them here, brand new? Fortunately, there was a cruiser who was passing by who was trying to get rid of some batteries for cheap. So we don't have a big battery bank, but we've got 420, amp hours of AGM batteries just to kind of get us going. Hopefully that'll be enough with the wind bane and we're sailing, but that's what we're going to be using for now as a cheaper alternative before we get the battery system that we actually want on this boat, which won't be done until later on. We're not going to do that stuff here. We're just here to get the bare minimum.
Then we're going to have, actual dedicated guest berth, and we're going to have a dedicated storage berth. And as well, I'm going to make my tools out of this whole section. That'll be wicked. Then you move over here and we got our nav station, a really nice big nav desk, and all of our instrumentations right here. I do like it that I hang out here, but I can also be a part of the switchboard. So that's cool.
Oh, actually what was in this cabin was our WATERMAKER that came with the boat.
Yeah, so the boat had a Spectra WATERMAKER. We don't like Spectras just because they're way too pricey. We've kind of deleted it. We've hooked another dock neighbor up with it.
It's a 12-volt system, and we just prefer to have a 110 where it can actually produce water at a faster rate.
Yeah, we need a
now we have bigger tanks.
Yeah, we need a higher gallons per hour rate. And that's why we like SeaWaterPro, and we just like dealing with those guys over there. They're awesome.
We wanted to make sure that we had a WATERMAKER system that we could have on board that would be reliable for us to feel comfortable moving this boat, taking it offshore.
A perfect solution for what we're looking for. This is a 110, 10 gallons an hour WATERMAKER that is totally portable.
I think it goes to 12 gallons.
Yes, we wanted out 10 to 12.
10 to 12.
Yeah.
This is version 2, so we were able to put a slightly bigger pump on this one, and we've seen 12 to 13 sometimes, but we don't call it that. We call it 10 to 12.
Oh.
Which is good for us to trickle in when we're offshore, you know, you just need a
No,
little
this
bit.
is perfect. It runs at 600 watts on 110, so that's like 60 amps on 12 volts. So if we're motoring in and out of somewhere, we can just run this guy off like literally our alternator. And the fact that it's just so portable, I think the applications are going to be really endless for this. SeaWaterPro and all the guys here, they do a wicked job. The factory's always clean. They're always innovating, trying to get new products like this.
There's been so many changes we've seen since the last time we were here, so it is really cool to get our hands on, you know, the second version here too.
Yeah, when we first came here 3.5 years ago, he was just developing the system, and I can tell you it looks pro now. It looks spot on. Looks awesome. So
Excited. Redundancy is always good. So.
yeah, redundancy as well on a boat. Yeah, just have this guy as a spare in case maybe your main water maker didn't want to work that time or something happened. You got this guy, so you're not going to be totally stranded. I think it's a genius idea. It's organized, clean, and yeah. So once we get to playing with it, we'll show you all that.
What was absolutely perfect about the portable water maker from SeaWaterPro is that it comes in like a Pelican case that is the size of a carry-on luggage that you're allowed to bring on the plane with a little handle and wheels. So Travis's carry-on was our water maker, and we had no issues through security or customs, anything like that. They kind of just looked at it and more out of curiosity, like, what is this thing? But yeah, it worked out perfectly, so we didn't have to pay any additional fees for getting our water maker over, and we had it with us the entire time on the flight.
We don't want to do a refit on the boat here in Panama. We want to do it where things are readily available, but we need the boat to be basically operational for us to go offshore and get where we need to go. Luckily, it did have 600 watts of solar, and now that we got 420 amps of battery bank, which is a lot lower compared to what we're used to. So there's going to be a lot of power management once we leave the dock, but I think we'll make it happen because, you know, we got the water maker, we got a bit of batteries and solar.
And a hydrovane now. So.
Yeah, and we got a hydrovane, so that's really cool. Definitely going to be playing with that because that can take a huge load off of our system.
Especially here, like right now, it's been kind of cloudy, so
yeah,
I don't know, kind of nervous to unplug.
Yeah, I've been testing it. I've been unplugging off the dock every so often just to see what our solar does on a sunny day, if it can keep up our loads. But we have like Starlink on, we have everything on. We're like 20 amps.
Today's a sunny day, so that's why it says we're pretty much just...
It's taking our loads minimum right now. Like everything this boat has, that's what our solar's putting in.
Oh, another thing that's very different, starting the engine and everything is below instead of being in the cockpit, which I don't like this idea. I like it being up top where I am, versus having to run up, or sorry, run up or down.
It is a weird system, how they've set it up, but if I really don't like it, I could obviously move that outside and adjust things how I want it, but we'll leave it like that now. It does have an RPM gauge up here, and then a kill throttle right here. We'll see how it works for us. It's kind of interesting, but...
It's just weird to have to leave the helm to turn off the boat and turn on the boat.
Yeah. But how this boat's kind of set up, where the instruments are and everything, you kind of sit under the Dodgers, I think how this boat would typically be sailed, so you're kind of here in this space anyways by the looks of it, so we'll see.
It's like an expedition boat. It's like you're probably in cold weather, you're probably in rain, you're going to want to snug up as close as you can, not be out at the back, maybe, you know, kind of tucked in.
Yeah, this boat's designed to go to high latitudes, so that means you'd close off the Dodger only, so you have a little space in there to keep the heat in, and you're going to be down here more. That's why we have literally perfect view out of these windows, and you can see sails, you can see the furling units straight over the bow. I love that part about this. It's designed to be inside.
So the hatches are all looking a little ugly right now because they're not finished, but what you can see because they're not finished is the 3 inches of spray closed cell foam that lines the entire boat pretty much from ceiling into the bilge, which is kind of weird because usually insulated boats, from what I gathered, don't have insulation all the way down to the bilge, like below the waterline. The nice thing is there is a lot of spare material in a storage unit for this boat, and there are some trim pieces, so I think we will be able to finish this eventually.
Yeah, when I get my tools.
Yeah, this is what it looks like here. So that's all over the boat. You guys know that we were in Scotland and the Faroes in summer, and it was just freezing, walls were dripping, wood was rotting because it wasn't insulated. But this boat is built for that, which is primarily why we wanted it, because we want to venture to those high latitudes and go back to those very, very beautiful, beautiful cold weather sailing destinations. And now this boat is meant for it. Like, it's the right boat for the job. And one thing we've noticed in the short period of time that we've spent on the boat already with the installation is that on the days where it gets very hot, say we've had a cloudy day and then suddenly the sun comes out or it starts raining and it gets really humid, those temperature changes that we would normally feel pretty instantaneously on Jibsea, a fiberglass boat, we don't feel right away. It's more of a gradual change in the internal climate. So it's essentially kind of like a cooler because it's keeping in the ambient temperature inside for longer. On the flip side, what we did notice is that when it's really, really hot during the day and cools down at night, we don't get that instantaneous cool down. So we're still, like, we were really, really hot on board before we had the air conditioning working, even though we knew that the outside temperature had dropped drastically for nighttime. So it's kind of like, you get pluses and minuses, right? But that is the cool thing about the installation, is that we just noticed right off the bat.
Yeah. But we also didn't have any windows open because there's so many bugs, and we don't have our screens figured out yet. So we had to keep everything closed.
It'll be interesting to see how that feels when we're on anchor and we have all the hatches open and port lights open and all of that. This is our galley here. One thing that I didn't realize when we first got on the boat to like check it out the first time we came to Panama, I saw the layout and I was like, oh yeah, this is great, like whatever, you know, I'll get used to it. It wasn't until I actually started using it, living on here, that I realized that there's so much storage, I can't even reach half of it because it's so set back. Like, there's a port light there.
You can't even grab that port light.
I can't, there's no chance. Even if I were to step on this little thing, I like just scrape it. So that's something that's like, it's great that there's tons of storage, but I just can't personally reach it. Like, you can see here how deep it is. Like, these are the longest flippin' drawers I've ever seen, ever. That's probably where it would have stopped, what we're used to. That is how far it actually goes. Please tell me if you've ever seen a drawer on a sailboat longer than this.
And that's for the two under as well.
It's just insane. So lots and lots of storage, but there are some issues with this setup right now that we're going to be changing. Yeah, all of these go that far back in here, so we've got lots of space for all the appliances. I've already got a rice cooker and an air fryer, things that we never had space for before, but now they just get swallowed up in the storage of this boat.
And right behind the stove, this boat only has one head, what, in my opinion, all the boat needs for you and I. We only need one head. We never used the second head on our other boat. So, but yeah, come in and it's really neat. A full-size toilet. Like, this is the toilet you buy at Home Depot. It's a massive toilet.
Your whole butt can fit on it.
Yeah, like, you're stable on that thing. I love it. Sink's a little small, but that's whatever. Has a nice, really nice mirror.
A real mirror.
A real mirror. Could never see what we actually looked like half the time.
That's better. We've got some lights on.
There. So,
all right, there we go. And then the shower is a standalone shower. It's not a wet head, because that was one thing why we could not, it could not be a wet head.
No, that is like a 100% deal breaker. The boat could be perfect. If it had a wet head and I couldn't change it, I wouldn't buy a boat if we're full-time on it.
Full area right here. It's kind of hard to tell.
It doesn't have the headroom, but that's fine. I shower like this anyways.
But check this out.
Behind here, again, that's the space. We would never keep a box anywhere.
But yeah, this is potential for a washer.
Yeah.
A very high potential.
Very high potential.
And then in the front, we've got our V-berth. So now we sleep at the front, which is very different than what we were used to. This bed is a lot wider than what we had on Jibsea. And it's like, I don't know, it's like, what do you call those? Like the do not disturb mattresses or something? Because
therapeutic?
No, like a do not disturb. Because when either of us climb in and out, the other cannot feel it. Like, literally, I will be awake with my eyes closed, and then Travis will get out of bed, and I'll open my eyes, and I had no idea that he actually left the bed.
I also think because the bed is a lot wider, so we don't feel each other in the night.
We've got a lot more space for clothing and stuff. Like, we haven't really situated ourselves with where we're going to put everything, obviously, because we don't have anything here, but we've got lots of space. Long drawers, once again, like super long. And then we've got a little seat here with a hanging locker.
A really, really big hanging locker. Storage under here.
I wasn't really a fan of this finish on all of the cabinetry, but it does allow for air to ventilate, which would be nice.
Yeah, the function of it is way better than the look of it.
Function over beauty.
The insulation, it's crazy.
I will say, for it being 45 feet, which is only 3 feet larger than Jibsea, it feels bigger and it also doesn't feel bigger. Like, up top, it feels a lot bigger, like we were saying, in terms of deck space and walking around and stuff. It feels way more than just what 3 feet would give you. The inside, it has pretty much the same beam. Jibsea was 14 feet, this is 14.3, but you have to take into consideration the 3 inches of insulation on both sides. But then it kind of feels wider as well because it's aft.
Our main living space is more in the beam, not the center cockpit is where the beam of the boat is, and then you have like the bathroom in the hallway and then the bedroom on the back. That's where you would get the wider feel.
Yeah, this is like the widest part here. We could never fit this table on Jibsea. We'll put it that way.
And have walking room.
Yes. So in that sense, like, I know it feels wider right here, but it also doesn't feel super bigger inside. So I don't know. It's just...
We're comparing a lot with our other boat because that's all we've known. So it's really neat to get on a different boat and just be like, well, this is different. Now I like this, or I like this. For a bit, it's going to be a lot of comparing to Jibsea.
I loved everything about Jibsea. It was the perfect layout for me, and like, I loved it. So it's always going to be a direct comparison, and it's an adjustment. I
obviously love Jibsea, but it just lacked certain things that this boat definitely has that Jibsea just couldn't give us. So
it's not like Jibsea couldn't take us where we wanted to go, because we obviously went to those cold weather climates and all that stuff. It's just having the right tool for the job, or like the right boat for the place.
That's exactly it. Just having the right tool for the job, and this is a better fit for what we want to do. Oh,
I love this.
This is my favorite part of the whole boat, right here.
We bought the boat for this, guys.
I seriously did, yeah.
A $300 lamp.
Yeah, it's a full-on gas-burning little candle lamp, and it'll put out heat.
It's going to be so cozy when we're up north.
If this boat isn't cozy, I will be mind-blown. It has 5 heaters throughout the boat, and it's insulated, and we got this guy. So
our plan with this boat is to go to the colder climates, see the epic landscapes that we didn't have enough of the first time. This time around, we're just going to be so much more comfortable in a vessel that was designed to go to those places. And then we'll probably stay cozier than hovering over tea lights last time.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just so much more prettier the higher north you go versus, my opinion, the tropics. The tropics are really pretty under the water, but I visually like seeing northern areas. We've got a lot to do to get it to where we need it.
And this is going to look very different as we progress. This is kind of like how we got it. So hit the subscribe button, follow us as we,
dig into this thing.
Yeah, because there are going to be a lot of changes that we're going to be making that have to be done, that we want to get done. And we can't wait to bring you guys along for every step of it. Another thing, if you are interested in the behind the scenes process of how we purchased this boat abroad, because that was one of the things that I was very hesitant on just personally. I was like, oh, is it going to be a lot of work? Is it going to be a headache? Is it going to be complicated? We will be sharing all of that over on Patreon.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.